Daniel Goleman's book, Optimal,
Mm.
came out in 2023, and he was especially excited about it because he was getting the opportunity to report on decades of longitudinal research that, when it started, hoped there was a direct link between emotional intelligence and high performance. And boy, was there.
Oh, good.
The more you leverage emotional intelligence, the more productive and engaged we are. We're more likely to advance in our careers. If we're in sales, we have more success. We make more money, even in careers like IT or engineering, where people might think EI is less important. It's a huge predictor of success. We're considered more trustworthy. We're more satisfied with our work and life if we're using EI. We're more helpful to others. He also reported we're less likely to be a jerk.
Mm.
And wildly, we're more likely to have better overall health because using EI is linked to managing stress effectively. And then also with AI, EI
Yeah.
is our differentiator, right? It's our level up. So AI might write our reports, but it can't believe in our teams. It can't actually bring wisdom to a situation. Using EI, emotional intelligence, can do that. Welcome to the Behaviorist with Work Wisdom. I'm your host today, Sarah Colantonio. Today, we're focusing our attention on emotionally intelligent teams, and we're so grateful to have Abby Rivera, the
Hi.
principal at Wickersham Elementary in Lancaster, with me again.
Yes.
Thank you for coming back.
Always. Thank you for having me.
Yes, it's my pleasure. So last time we talked about authentic leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And so today we want to talk a little bit more about focusing on emotionally intelligent teams. And, you know, you and I, we've talked a lot about emotional intelligence.
Yes.
And what it is. And, we always talk about the four things, right? The way we see and express ourselves, the way we build and maintain relationships, how we handle stress, and then how we solve problems and make decisions using emotional information or data without getting derailed by the emotional data. And whenever I recite that, those components, I always think about the pie, like our day, and how much of our day is committed to those aspects of emotional intelligence.
Yes,
like
very
it's
much so.
all about our expression, and it's all about our relationships. It's all about how we're handling stress and making decisions and solving problems. And then, the EI, or the IQ part, the cognitive intelligence part, it's in there.
It
It's
is
really important.
It is.
But in comparison, like the slices, it's got to be so skinny compared to all of that. I know in education, it's important to have brilliant minds, of course. But when you think about your own journey with leading and in education, how much have you had to rely on your emotional intelligence to succeed, like to get through really tough times? Like how
do you have to rely on it?
Yeah.
I think I rely on it more often than not.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of those things where you have to have the ability to read people.
Yeah.
And like know what the vibe is. What is going on? Okay. What do you sense? Are you and then be able to articulate that and then just really listen.
Yeah.
And that comes with trusting people.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you listen to somebody, you have to be able to trust them as well, right? And they have to trust you and you have to trust them because you're going to have to respond to whatever it is that they're telling you. And so I think we rely on it more often than not. I always tell everybody that my job is to solve problems. Okay. I solve problems all day long. Whether that's a coverage, whether that is a student related issue, whether somebody's having a personal issue at work and they need to come talk to somebody. I'm always solving problems all day long, which isn't a bad thing. People, I think when you say you're a problem solver, people say it's a bad thing. Okay. But it's really not. It's helping people either understand what could be possible. Okay. Or solving something that is really hard and getting different perspectives on that. And you have to be able to listen and trust those around you.
Yeah. When I think about the role of the principal, you have to rely on it.
You have to.
It's
I don't
your
have a choice.
every minute of every day.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there are times, like, when I first became an administrator, like, and my frustrations were there with whatever the situation might be. Maybe I had a really hard conversation with a caregiver. Maybe I was really excited about a lesson I was going to go observe, and it really was not what I thought it was going to be. Or I have a really challenging situation with students. In my frustration sometimes got the better of me, and I would have to be like, okay, so now as the principal, okay, I will take that moment. I will breathe. I will say, please give me a second. My secretary is amazing. She will notice when it's happening and comes in and just shuts the door. Okay. And I have this wonderful, amazing picture of me in the 2nd grade, because that's when I knew I wanted to be an educator. That's in my window. And so people can't see if I'm in there, which is also great. Okay. So, but she'll be like, nope, we're shutting the door.
Okay.
Because you have to be able to recognize your own. Oh, I touched my mic too. Sorry, Hunter. You have to be able to recognize your own your own feelings, right? And your own emotions, and be able to regulate them yourself. And so that has come over time. Okay. It's not something I learned like that. That has come with always trying to be self-aware.
Yeah. So the balance of reading the room, but knowing yourself, that's a huge part of it. Okay. So that's been a big predictor of your success. I'm really curious about, we're talking about emotionally intelligent teams. How do you gauge emotional intelligence with your staff? How do you talk about it?
Well, I think a lot of it comes down to that listening piece and that trusting, okay, and making yourself vulnerable. But I will attribute a lot of our success to what we've done with the ruler program. Okay. So the ruler program is, and I don't want to call it a program. It's the ruler approach. Okay. I will say it's the ruler approach. And it's through the Yale Institute, or the Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence, Yale University. And we have done so much work with that. So it's understanding just emotions in general, being able to recognize it, being able to understand it, being able to label what it is, express it, and then regulate yourself. And we do a lot of work as a staff, and we do a lot of work with students. And so there's a staff component. Okay. And it's how do we want to feel as a staff? How do we want to treat each other? How do they want me to work with them? How do we want to work with students? And then the students do it themselves. So a lot of our emotional intelligence as a staff comes from that approach and our ability to embrace it. But as a human being, right, I will sense a room, and I will make myself vulnerable. And because of the previous podcast, I fully believe in that. I fully believe in vulnerability, because if you don't, people aren't going to take you seriously in a way, right? If I'm always be like, I do not know the answer to this. Okay, but I will find out. Or I'm really sorry that this happened, or this came across this way. Or you want to know what? This is challenging for us right now, but we're not going to let it define us, right?
Optimism.
We got the optimism. We are not going to let this define us, okay? We are going to take it as, okay, it's a challenge, but let's be proactive about it. And so I think that is part of it as well. And then just calling a spade a spade. This is how it is.
Yeah. Do you feel like there are particular emotional intelligence skills that are really important to have at Wickersham? In your building, you're you gotta
self-awareness.
Self-awareness. That's the big one.
Huge one. And I really do attribute a lot of what we do to that approach, that ruler approach. It's to be self-aware. Right. Okay. So and it's funny, I just had a conversation with my supervisor 2 days ago, and I kept being like, I know this is how I feel. Okay. But I talked through it with her. I was like, I know I'm frustrated. But it's not the feeling I have. I'm feeling the frustration, but that's not the emotion I want to say. I'm not saying I'm frustrated, because that's not, I know I feel it. That's the feeling I have, but it's not the emotion I want to put with it. Right. And so the emotion I put with it was feeling hopeless. Right. And so yes, I'm frustrated, then I'm hopeless. And so being able to talk through that and understand your own feeling, being able to label that and then express it, and then be able to then be like, okay, I feel this way and I feel hopeless, but how can I now move forward and put things in place to do that? And my staff is very self-aware. Okay. And I think that is the number one piece that you have to have is to be self-aware.
Yeah. And then everything else kind of
Follows in suit.
Okay. So I also wanted to share with you, we like to nerd out on research. So I've got Optimal by Daniel Goleman, but then more recently, Vanessa Dreska wrote The Emotionally Intelligent Team. And
I'm going to buy it.
It's so good.
I'm going to buy it. And then I also would like to buy it for my husband because he's a nerdy organizational theory, behavioral guy. So like I'm going to buy it for him too.
Okay. We didn't know this was going to turn into like a whole thing, but also Goleman mentions Drescott and
they're like friends. Well, that's
so exciting. Anyway, so she did decades of experience with emotionally intelligent teams. Anyway, I made it for you. And what she found is that emotionally intelligent teams, they have these characteristics, they have these habits that are pretty common. And it's beautiful because then we know, so this is decades, and she realized, what are the things, what are the characteristics? So the one thing, and going over this, it made me think of you. I was like, I want to interview Abby. So the first thing that was common among these emotionally intelligent teams, they understood each other. And in kind of all the ways. It's not even like being best friends necessarily, but it's like your secretary being like, I'm going to shut the door.
Shutting the door.
Yeah. Right. Secondly, demonstrate caring. Third, addressing unacceptable behavior. So that's got to happen. Reviewing the team. She talked about it's part of self-awareness, but it's doing how did we do? How did we get through this thing? How did this project go? How did this policy change go? Like, how did the transition go? And she talks about they did it on a variety of levels, but they were able to have those hard conversations like, we didn't maybe manage that. What are we going to do going forward? Support expression was also common. She talked a lot about Amy Edmondson and psychological safety, and specifically that supporting expression looked like that people could be vulnerable. They could ask for help, and they were willing to be part of that. But also in supporting expression, she talks a little bit about like it's almost like having a symbol for your team or for your organization. I know at Wickersham, it's like
what a Wildcats.
Wildcats. That's right.
Everything is Wildcat focused. Everything.
Yeah. So that's kind of part of it too. And then building optimism was common. That made me think of you for sure.
Oh, thank you.
And also solving problems proactively. So in some organizations, having the ability to think about things before, being strategic enough to think about things before they're just like coming at them.
The plan for the plan.
The plan for the
plan. You know, that's my thing. The plan for the plan.
So anyway, I wanted to talk to you about these. First of all, I'm curious what your favorites are here. What are, looking at these, what feel most important for your team?
So it's okay. So I did a little activity with this. Okay. I did an activity with this because when I think of the team that when I'm looking at this, so I have a leadership team, and then I've got grade level teams, and I have my staff, my teachers, and I have building assistants, and I've got paras. So I was thinking about this with two members of my leadership team, and I wanted to see if what they thought was the same thing I thought. And they did.
Whoa.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, that's amazing.
So I used my instructional coach, and I used my dean of students, and I asked both of them, what do you think? And our answers were very similar, which was not surprising yet ironic because we have different perspectives on different situations. Yes,
Yeah.
I think with a principal hat, he thinks with an instructional coach hat, he thinks with a dean of students hat. Okay, but they all were the same. Okay.
I just want to ask you, for listeners who aren't in education,
Mm-hmm.
is it, what is the, not to derail you, but
Yeah, you're
what's the
fine.
difference between those three, like,
So
responsibilities?
I am the building leader, so I'm responsible for all things in the building:
Yeah.
instructional leadership, systems, climate and culture. I am the top of the umbrella. Well,
Yeah.
this is how I organize it. I'll
Yeah.
say that. I'm
Yeah.
the top of the umbrella. Instructional coach is the academic liaison.
Got it.
Okay. So
Okay.
the instructional coach works with teachers. They work with me. They work with district coordinators. They are curriculum focused,
Okay.
educational strategies. They are the coach. Okay.
Got it.
The dean of students is the climate and culture of the building.
Okay.
Okay. So they are the person who handles student discipline,
Okay.
your PBIS initiatives, all MTSS type things that are there to benefit students. But then also my dean does a lot of great work with staff culture as well.
Okay. So the people part.
The people part. Yeah,
Got
people
it.
part. And so we all think very differently.
Yeah.
Okay. And we all have very different perspectives. But we all think understanding the team members,
Yeah.
demonstrating care, and solving problems proactively
Okay.
are the three like crux of
Okay.
what makes highly functional, emotionally intelligent teams.
Okay.
Those three pieces, which makes sense.
Mhm.
Okay. I think
Tell me more.
Okay, so I think understanding your team, despite what the team is, whether it's your whole staff, whether it's your student team, whether it's your leadership team,
Mhm.
you have to understand who everybody is as a person first.
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, I'm Mrs. Rivera. I'm the principal, but I'm also Abby.
Right.
Okay. And everybody knows certain things about me that make me who I am.
Mhm.
Yes, I'm the principal, but that's not all of who I am. I'm
Yeah.
also a mom. I'm a really good cook. I'm an avid Eagles fan. Okay. Everybody knows these things about
Right.
me, right? That makes me who I am.
Yeah.
And so as we know people as people first,
Yeah.
right? And understand who they are and they're coming from different perspectives in
Yeah.
different lives.
Mhm.
Okay. And it's even I think about the way the three of us were raised. Okay, two of us
Yeah.
were raised by single parents. One
Really?
lived in this like great wonderful life. Okay, like
Wow.
in so it's just different. You have different
Yeah.
perspectives, but we all believe that understanding your team
Mhm.
is number one
Yeah.
and demonstrating that care.
Yeah.
That comes with the listening piece. Let me
Mhm.
listen to you.
Yeah.
Okay. And listening builds trust, right?
100%.
But when I'm listening to you, I'm really listening to you. I'm not listening to you to cut you off. I'm listening to you to understand, okay, this is where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
What's next?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you need?
Yeah.
Okay, what's next? But it's all aspects.
Mhm.
It's not just what's happening in school. Like I've had staff come to me and just talk to me about personal things that are going on and seeking personal advice. Hey, Abby, I know that you have had this happen to you before because I am vulnerable and I tell my staff, okay? So they know that I'll give an example, my divorce. Okay. They
Yeah.
know I'm divorced. Okay.
Yeah.
So if something is going on where they're, something personal or they know something personal is going on with somebody, they'll come to me to seek the advice. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's that listening piece.
Yeah.
But when you're listening, you're also showing that compassion, that empathy,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And then the last part is solving problems proactively.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that I hate chaos. Okay. I despise chaos. Like it is I get like heart palpitations. I'm not an anxious person, but it gives me extreme anxiety
Yeah.
when there's chaos.
Yeah.
That's why I always say I have a plan for the plan. And I think 4 steps ahead. Right. And so it's funny, I was on the phone this morning with my supervisor and she was like, I know you think 3 steps ahead, which I do because I always have to.
Yeah.
But it's being proactive and not reactive.
Mhm.
If you're sensing something that is going to happen that could be a challenge,
Mhm.
let's be proactive about it
Mhm.
instead of reactive. But it's also getting all of those perspectives as well.
Yeah.
I don't have all the answers and I'm not going to pretend like I do.
Right.
And so that's that trust piece too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they're the 3 things that, you know,
You and the leadership team were
yeah,
like,
yes,
we
yes, yes,
gotta.
yes, yeah.
Okay.
They also wanted to address holding each other accountable because we do. And I see those behaviors of like the 3 things I talked about in my very successful grade level teams.
Mm.
I have a couple grade levels that are extremely successful academically and socially, emotionally with their students. And it's those three pieces
Okay.
that make them so great.
Yeah.
They hold each other accountable. They are able to listen to each other. They're like a little family within their grade level. And that's what makes them successful.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah. They're so tight. That's,
Yes.
I love that. That's so good. So the beauty of emotional intelligence is it's developable, and organizational culture, which is what you're talking about. Like it's very it's discussed very openly there. So it's that it's developable, you can shape it, you can strengthen it. I think what leaders who are watching or listening to this might wonder is like, okay, that sounds great, but like, what do I do? How do I, if I want to build optimism, for example, or if I want to, address unacceptable behavior, people know that's important, but that means having really hard conversations. Like, how would you encourage a leader that wanted to build optimism? Like, how do you do that? What do you?
Well, I think first and foremost, it's the self-awareness piece, right? You have to know who you are,
Yeah.
right? And you have to prioritize your vision. What do you eventually want? What is the end goal? If there is an end goal, right?
Yeah.
And you have to know that that's first and foremost, right? And then if there is a challenge or you're seeing that there's people who are struggling, with emotional intelligence, or they're struggling to regulate, or they're down in the dumps, or whatever the case may be, you have to almost say, this is not who defines us.
Yeah.
This is not our definition.
Yeah.
This is temporary. Okay.
That's right.
It's a temporary, it's like a bump, right?
Yeah,
It's temporary. And you have to prioritize that.
Yeah.
You can't let it define you. This is a temporary situation. And then you have to think like, okay, well, if this is temporary, what do we want the end goal to be? So visualizing that future, like, okay, I want to be here. Let's come up with a plan. Okay. Mini goals.
Yeah.
Prioritizing those.
Yeah.
And then in that case, if you're seeing this like negativity or whatever the case may be, like being able to call that out.
Yeah.
And then listening.
Yeah.
Okay. People need to listen. Okay. I see this as a problem. When I first became the principal of Wickersham, I met with every single staff member. It didn't matter who you were.
Oh.
Okay. Whether you were the custodian, okay, whether you were the secretary, whether you were a para, whether you taught third grade, it did not matter. I met with every single person throughout the entire summer. And I wanted to know what made Wickersham glow.
Yeah.
And what was a grow. Right. And I was able to develop a vision based on what the staff told me.
Yeah.
And then what my vision was, right? So it's like who I am as a human anyway. Collaboration, critical thinking, like all those pieces. Okay. We did it together.
Yeah.
Right. And so you're able to like say like, okay, let's visualize this future.
Yeah.
Let's say this is the vision. Let's share it together.
Yeah. So you have to, it sounds like you have to, it's almost like you're gathering data. You got to figure out what am I working with?
Yes.
What are the ingredients? Who are the humans that are part of this?
Because everybody comes with different pieces. Like you're not just Sarah who is defined by work wisdom.
Yeah.
Right. You have other attributes of who you are. Right. And everybody comes with different perspectives and different things that have happened in their life that have shaped who they are. Right.
Yeah.
And it does eventually dictate on how you are within a classroom, in your job, whatever it is that you do. It is going to shape who you are.
Yeah.
It's gathering the data. It is. It's a great way to say it.
Yeah. I love it. I get a sense that the culture in your organization is, and you can correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
But that it is an optimistic place, that it is, and it's like it's cohesive. Like the way that a family pushes each other.
That's the best way I'm going to say. Perfect. It's perfect.
Okay.
Family.
Yeah. And food.
Yeah. All the time. Food and family.
Yeah.
I would definitely call us a family.
Yeah.
Because families will always go to bat for each other. Okay. They will always protect. They will always do those things. Families will also disagree. They will fight and they will argue and they will not like that you have done something, but at the end of the day, they still love you. Still love each other.
Yeah.
Like you're like, I may not like you right now, but I do love you.
Yeah.
Right. That was a big thing my mom used to say. I may not like you right now, but I do love you. Okay.
Yeah.
But like, that is how we operate.
Yeah.
Everybody's not going to agree with everything that goes on. They're not going to agree with somebody's behavior, not going to agree with a decision. They're not going to agree with whatever is going on. But at the end of the day, we still love each other. We're still the Wickersham Wildcats. We still, that's what we do.
Yeah.
And that is the best way to describe who we are. We are a family, hands down. And yes, there is a lot of food. Okay. There's every Wednesday, there's early release days. We got very creative this year with food. My instructional coach was grilling. My husband and I have cooked for the staff. We are always, there's a lot of food and family.
Yeah.
And it's funny because the end of the year always brings like a lot of anxiety for students, right? And so like, then you see behaviors and then teachers are frustrated. And I understand wholeheartedly. I was a teacher. It's not like I wasn't. I knew May was very challenging, for a lot of reasons. And I had my staff do this amazing, at least I thought it was amazing, activity where we had to go back and remember that the year wasn't what it is right now, the second week of May.
Yeah.
And so I had them define like who was their hero of the year. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
How did they know where they were supposed to be? Like, how did they know this is exactly where I'm supposed to be? And they had to share a funny moment with a staff member, a funny moment with a student.
Yeah.
And then I made them move with somebody they have not talked to in a very long time, somebody that was not in their grade level, they didn't work with all the time. So you saw people talking that they don't, like the pre-K para was with, a grade level teacher, or my secretary was with like the ELD department. Okay. And they had to go and they had to share this. And I walked around and it's not like I was creeping on people's, like people's conversations. Cause I shared mine. I modeled it. Okay. Like my hero was a kindergartner.
Yeah.
Every time she sees me, she breaks down the dance and I can dance with her. And it's like an amazing opportunity. We're like, okay. And then I shared funny moments. Right. And then I watched them and you could see the family aspect. People are laughing. They're like, oh my God. And they're like, I sympathize with you. It warmed my heart and it filled my bucket.
Yeah.
Because yes, this temporary, remember I said, it's a temporary setback, right? This challenging time did not dictate who we are.
Yeah.
It didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't.
Yeah.
You went back in time and you were like, you know what? I just danced like a mom in 5th grade with a 5th grade teacher, because that was my member of the staff. And I danced like a mom. We mom danced. Okay. And everybody was like, what is happening in here? Okay. But it was a great moment I had with her.
Yeah.
Right. Where we were able to like go and be, and 5th graders, they think you're cringy. Okay. So they were like, what is happening? Why is Miss Rivera, Miss Peggy laughing? Like, and it was great. And, you share those times.
Yeah. Okay. I love it. You got to live it. You got to live it. How can leaders, I don't know what you think about this, but how can leaders handle frustration caused by lower use of EI? I mean, especially when times are tough, that can make us forget to use those skills. So how can leaders handle the frustration caused by lower EI use on their team?
I think it's a couple things. I was going to go back to listening. Yeah. Right. I think identifying what is causing it.
Yeah.
What is the challenge? What is causing this to happen? And then listen to what the responses are. You may not like it, but you have to be able to listen to it.
Yeah.
I think going back to that self-awareness piece helps too.
Yeah.
And you and I were talking prior to this about just when times are tough, what do we do? Right. How do you take care of yourself? Right. And I do this every Friday. I write, it's called the Wick Weekly. Okay. And it's like my update, but it has all the important things that are going on, who the charter champion is. That's somebody who's gone above and beyond, to that really accentuates the Wickersham values. And the staff vote for each other. And it's like, family engagement activities coming up. It's like the catch-all newsletter. And I do it every Friday. Well, I do it Thursday night and it comes out Friday. And I've been writing these I call them kind of like manifestos, okay, on like being able to take care of yourself, because times are tough, right? They are. It is a challenging time right now in education in general.
Yeah.
And I was doing it, yes, for myself, because I had to constantly remind myself, okay, I need to be self-aware. I need to be present. I need to do stuff so that I'm my best self, so that when I do come to work, I'm not frustrated and I'm not, snapping or having to always regulate. And I had staff come to me and tell me the things that they were doing because
oh my gosh.
yeah, and it was funny because one of them was she wanted to start baking and she did a sourdough starter, right? And then I have people who are now going to the gym, and I have people who, are in at craft clubs and doing all these things that are benefiting themselves because they see me do it, right? Like they do see me do it. Like I go to the gym like 3 to 4 times a week. Everybody knows that's what I do. That's my time to release, but also to make sure you're taking care of yourself. And then in turn, it has them take care of themselves, and then they can be their best selves at work.
Positive
Yeah, you're trying.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. And so they just came and were like, hey,
So they would tell me, like, it was funny, like it was one of my pre-K teachers. She was like, hey, so just want to let you know, like, I really took your advice with the WIC Weekly. And I was like, okay. And she's like, and I really don't cook, but I did start, like, I had started a sourdough starter, and I've been making like all these sourdough recipes. And I was like, that's great. And that's wonderful. Like,
so good.
And she's like, and I got it from the WIC Weekly. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, that's fantastic. And it was funny because I saw this Instagram reel where it was like, you can tell like what age your bracket in, and if you're doing the following things. And I've had people tell me that they have been doing these things, and I wanted to put it up so bad in May. I just couldn't find the reel again. It was like protein and fitness training, like powerlifting. That's me. Okay. I am doing a lot of fitness training. It was like sourdough starter, craft club, and plants. Okay. It was like those things. And I was like,
self-care.
Everybody was like, every single person has been like doing one of those things in my building. And if that's what we need to do, that's what we need to do.
Yeah. Okay. So good. So good. So thank you again for coming and and talking about yourself and your team. I think this is going to be really helpful for people, especially not just identifying like what an emotionally intelligent team looks like, but then like how to get there. And I would say I'm going to pull like the self-awareness that you talk about, like spending that time understanding who you are is really key. And the practice of listening seems to be, that openness seems to be really huge. But there's 2 other things that I'm hearing from you. One is over communicating, which is just being not in a bad way. It's like over communicating. Like you need to be present and like expressing, so people aren't wondering what the heck is going on. Like it's such an important part of how you're helping your team through, whenever there's a tough time, and for yourself too. So I really, really appreciate that. I think that that's going to be helpful for people. But it also, it sounds to me like not just over communicating, but it's like action. It's like keep moving things forward. This is a snapshot in time, and moving towards that vision and that ultimate goal is gonna keep us on track. So
I would agree with all of those things. And I think also like when you're over communicating, like but no, I seriously mean this. Like it's when you're overly communicating, which I do. Okay. I'm not afraid to say, I don't know this. Okay. Like, let's address it. I don't know what to do yet. I'm not really sure. We're going to figure it out. What are your thoughts? What are your ideas? And like, manage it that way.
Yeah.
Because when people know that you don't know and that you're human too, I think that's another piece.
That's big. Yeah.
Okay. It's like, I'm a human too. Okay. Like I have my own, there's, yes, you might be Sarah. Okay. But you're not, work wisdom only. Like you have other things too. I think understanding those pieces too, that I also come with my own pieces as well.
Yeah. I think it reinforces how, yes, AI is helpful, but it's never going to be like the unique
not
human.
At all. Not at all. No.
Yeah. Thank goodness. So.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for watching this and listening to this. We hope you'll subscribe on YouTube or on the podcast, and you can always contact us through our website, workwisdomllc.com, and tell us what you think, and give us ideas for other topics you want to hear about. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.